Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another week of Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back. Another week of our podcast featuring myself, Larry Caution, Calvin Thomas, Justin B. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
Feeling fine, mighty fine.
I gotta get used to these glasses on you. They
the Hulkster over here, Hollywood BA over
make
here.
Make sure your pose is right around 10:45, so when you freeze, you get a good.
You know I do podcasts post 11 o'clock and I don't have the tissue.
So. I have no clue what it is, man. It's something here. Something's going on. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you all. We ask you to please share the live, subscribe, share. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like and share. Get the word out about the podcast. If you're on Facebook, share it with your friends. We appreciate you all. The numbers have been going up, and we appreciate you all. Continue to watch throughout the week. Because I get messages about stuff that I forgot we even talked about days ago, and they like just discover, like I just said it. I'm like, we record on Wednesday, right? But we appreciate those who tune in live and those who check us out throughout the week. But we got some things to get into tonight, some interesting topics, and some stuff that not necessarily grabbing all the headlines, but we got a little bit more time. We haven't dived completely into NFL season. We're still in preseason mode. NBA is on hiatus. Baseball's kind of you know what I mean? So we got some time to dig deeper into some of the other topics, and then we're going to do that as we go. But one topic we definitely do need to touch on right off the bat, gentlemen, tonight, and that is if you've been watching any preseason football from the past week, it was the first full weekend of preseason football, and there was some interesting things that happened last weekend. Number one thing on my list, and I said this, I said, look, when you go into preseason, you're not looking a lot for any veterans to show me much, but I want to see what these young players are doing, what these guys who are drafted pretty high, they have a lot of expectation on them. Some players were thrown right into the fire. Some were not going to be getting the love or the playing time that they thought that they deserved early on. And we're going to see what they're going to do with the time they're given and when they were put in the game. And I thought it was some pretty interesting storylines over the past weekend. Before I get into the slides that I had prepared, Calvin, anything interesting that really jumped out to you other than quarterbacks? We're going to talk about quarterbacks here a lot, but other than just talking about quarterbacks, what jumped out to you from last weekend, what you saw?
I was surprised to see Cincinnati's offense play. Our first couple drives. I don't know how important that is, considering you start off with Cincinnati and Jacksonville. I believe you should win those two games. So I don't see any of putting your star players at risk for that.
Hold up. I actually disagree with you.
Okay.
What is their MO? What is the MO?
Starting
off slow.
If I make the argument that last year they played, I believe it was New England, Washington the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Washington the first 2 weeks. This is by far weaker this year with Cleveland, Jacksonville.
Okay.
If you cannot win those two games without putting your players at risk, that says a lot more about this coaching staff and how they prepare their players, in my opinion.
No, Kevin, you want to see people make a change, and they're letting everybody in that franchise know, like, yo, this season is different.
Every game counts.
Every game counts. That I agree 100%.
Okay.
I think that gives me more confidence in the coaching staff to make adjustments. Be like, hey, we start slow every year. We take the preseason for granted. We come in thinking we just roll out of bed and we're going to be the great Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. And clearly that has not worked.
Let me ask you, does Kansas City play their starters?
Philadelphia.
Hold up. Philadelphia.
They don't have those problems.
They don't have those problems.
Do the Chargers play their starters?
It don't matter about nobody else. It's about in-house. Okay. If you are an owner and you go to your team, your general manager or your coaching staff and say, every year we start off slow. What are you going to do different this year? 100%. There's not too many things that you can do other than, you know what? There is a preseason before the season. We should probably take that a little bit more serious.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. We about to get deep in this conversation, so I think we can move on.
I think I
vehemently disagree. I'm not putting
I vehemently disagree with your point. It's not about putting your star players at risk. These guys get hurt without playing in the preseason.
Okay.
How many people dropping in playoff in practice right now? It
happens. It's contact sport.
Okay.
At the end of the day, get your offense in gear. Get your team ready to play football.
In practice versus playing against someone second and third string and someone else trying to make a play because they know that they're on the line about making the team or not. So okay. I'd rather have them in practice because you practice all year long. You don't have these preseason games in between games. So you practice all year long. It can happen in practice today. It can happen in practice in November. There's no difference.
I get what you're saying, but I also understand why they did what they did. Justin, anything jumped out to you other than QB play, which we'll talk about in a second, from the preseason so far?
Honestly, is one person in which I know I got a lot of flack for last week. I'm just going to ride that train as far as I can go. Keaton Mitchell, man, he came back and he showed why he was that dude. Why I said it's going to be a trio of him, Henry, and Lamar Jackson is one of the most dynamic things that you probably seen in quite some time. And just for him to spark off and have that kind of debut, it's just preseason. We understand that. We understand that it's people that's trying to make plays and stuff. That's why he's not going to play no more. He just needed to get that thing to say, like, yo, I am what I was 2 seasons ago. Last season was just me getting back into shape. This offseason, I took getting my body prepared. And now he got the explosiveness back. So that was one of the main things I wanted to hit on. Paul.
Calvin, you had a problem with him playing last week? Keep Mitchell?
Sure did.
He's not a starter. Okay. He needs to be come back from injury. That's fine. He's not even the second stringer. So, okay. Yeah. I have no problem with that.
I just wanted to make sure. All right. But one of the main things we definitely had to talk about leading up right off the top with Shedeur Sanders. Last week, Shedeur, we know all the talk has been surrounding Shedeur going in. And I really think each one of you gentlemen, and that we have a podcast that we do every week where we have an elevated discussion. We don't pick the low-hanging fruit. We don't just go after the easy topics that everybody talks about. We did not get on the Shedeur Sanders train all offseason. This is the first time we brought up Shedeur Sanders since the draft. And that was with purpose because everybody else, that's all they want to talk about. Like when you tune in here, you're not going to just talk about what you watch on ESPN. But given that all the naysayers, all the people who had something to say, and Shedeur went out there, did his job, performed, put something on display for people to talk about or not talk about, whatever. He let the play on the field do the talking for him, and I was very happy. Calvin, what was your thoughts on Shedeur and all the circus and hoopla around this conversation with him?
Let me say this. I am not a big preseason guy.
No.
Hold on. Stats, statistics, what you do in the preseason does not really, in my opinion, can equate to what you do in the regular season, but by oftentimes you're playing against third and fourth stringers, people that won't make the team. So I really don't care to talk about what happens on the preseason. However, I will give you this caveat. When you have a quote-unquote fourth-string quarterback who was getting fourth-string reps and then comes into a game with a limited preparedness because they were not planning to use him until late, and he performs as he did to start the game and into the second quarter, I have to give him his props, and I have to say that I did not expect him to play well. I don't think Cleveland expected him to play well, but for what he did, 14-23, no turnovers, 2 touchdowns, looking like a pro out there, I have to give him credit, and I have to take notice as to what he did over the course of the weekend. Now I want to see what happens when you actually have time to prepare, when his coaching staff invests in you, when his coaching staff build a game plan around you, because it's looking like he should be their second-string quarterback at best. And this is only because
at worst, you mean?
At worst, yeah. You have Flacco to start, and you maybe have a couple tough games early on. But there's no point. There's no reason that he should not be above Dillon Gabriel, above Deshaun. Deshaun's not even playing, and just behind Joe Flacco. At this point, he should be getting those second-string reps. He should be in those meetings. He should be involved in the game plan, especially going forward the rest of the preseason. And we should see if he can be able to build upon this. So I gotta take notes of what Shedeur did. I have to pay attention now because of what you do with the limited times you had to prepare, and this is the performance that you give. You could have easily used it as an excuse, but you didn't. You used it as motivation. And you took your hat. You got this opportunity, and you ran with it. So I give you credit for that.
Justin, what's your thoughts?
The sad thing is they put him right back at third or fourth, and he got an injury. That sucks. This oblique hopefully is not multiple days. Hopefully they can get it fixed relatively soon. But it's I found myself just like wondering like why do I care so much, right? Like I did like I paused for a second. I was like, yo, why am I so invested in Shedeur? And then I realized like you kind of I didn't say I grew up with him. I'm 39, so definitely is an age gap. But I saw him as a kid, like on Dion's show and stuff, like as a little 8-year-old or whatever like that. And just constantly see him go through his maturing stages and go through Jackson State, having people rob him and things like that, to going to Colorado. Like you start to invest yourself in this real life reality story that we're seeing and is being displayed at the highest level. And this is not a shot, but this is not Bronny James that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? This is like he's trying to he performed very high in college. He's trying to get a starting spot over people that we know about. Joe Flacco, he's not standing in his way per se, but it's just a name. He's on the same team with Deshaun Watson and all those things. Like it's a lot invested in what's going on in Cleveland, and he's just like another part of it. So, to see him kind of start to get railroaded for multiple reasons in which everyone thoroughly went to death for. We're not necessarily going to go that route, but it's like, okay, at this point, it is what it is. Like he is fourth string quarterback. Now, can you get to backup quarterback? We don't even want. The funny thing is, we don't really even want to see him start. I think most of us are prepared for Joe Flacco to kind of do the main start and then let him take the reins either later on in the season, if not next season. So it's not like we can take his time. So we're not rushing him to start per se.
It's got to be this season.
I mean, whatever.
If he making the backup, then it could be next season. But the thing is just so when he performed well and you were just waiting for his opportunity, everyone kept he kept saying it, just need my opportunity. Dion was saying that, and for him to perform very well, it was like, boy, like that ain't my boy, but I know Dion smiling somewhere. It was vindication for step one. Clearly, he has multiple steps ahead of him. But step one, after you made the team, as after you got drafted, I should say, you needed to perform well when you had the opportunities to do so, and he did. So somebody likes him in Cleveland. It might be the GM. He might be the only one. But I saw Shannon Sharp talk to Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son.
Yeah.
He said, he was doing very well in camp and things like that, but he might not make the team. I forgot what team he got drafted to. They got a lot of receivers already, but it was like you're not putting on a tape for this particular team. No, you are putting forth a tape / resume for the league. So just because you might not make it in Cleveland, just because you might not make it in whatever team, say you get cut or whatever like that, other teams are watching you at all times. So they're looking at like, yo, this dude is actually nice. As soon as Cleveland mess up and cut him or release him or whatever, we snatch it for him. Yeah, we might throw him a 3rd round pick for a trade or something. You performing for other people. So Cleveland, if they dogging him, if they do treat him like that, Shedeur, just keep your head up because there's other teams you're performing for. I love it.
Yeah. I also think it's so fitting if you really think about what happened to Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Joe Flacco was the starter. Later in the season, Lamar took over, never looked back. I think it's good for Shedeur to sit behind Joe, learn how to be a professional, see how things are. I really do. And he does not need to start right now. It is perfectly fine. This is not a team that has any aspirations for a championship. It's not a team that, they Super Bowl or bust. Sit there, get that oblique healthy, get yourself right. And when you're ready to take the field, Joe not going to hold that job forever. We know that. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be ready to take over the reins. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Look all the money they're paying the quarterbacks. Just ridiculous. Deshaun Watson getting all that money. I know they restructured his deal, but he can be patient. He'll be fine. Like you say, put good tape out there. Another team will come knocking. I think it was a good start for him, a very good start. And it shows good signs for what the future was. But we saw a lot of him in college. He was on national TV almost every week. So it's not like he wasn't exposed to people that have enough film on what we know for Shedeur to do. He's been on the national stage since Jackson State games was on. big time state. You know what I mean? So the man performed under the pressure. That's what was most impressive to me because of all the talk, all the naysayers. If he'd have went out there and put up a stinker, could you imagine what the media would have done?
Yeah.
But no, he didn't. He went out there and performed.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Good stuff for him.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking, I don't know if his future is in Cleveland. I mean, as much as I talked about Baker Mayfield, they did give up on him as well. So they seem not to know a lot about quarterbacks in that organization, and they seem to be focused on one Arch Manning as well, even though he's already been talking about him not coming out next year. But I think that's more so because they don't want him to go to Cleveland, if you believe those reports. So I think I don't know if he gets a fair shake in Cleveland if he does not play half of the games this year. And I think, like I said, his future may be somewhere else just because they're looking at other options, which is part of the reason why they drafted the way they did, in my opinion.
Trying to project out what your record's going to be for the draft next year is such a far-fetched proposition.
You think
I wouldn't even worry about that.
You think they win 5 games this year?
You think other teams not going to be bad? Like
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they can control what they can control. You think they win 5 games this year? I don't think they're going to be the worst either. I think that's going to be.
I think quarterback is the least of their issues. I really do. I think they got a lot of holes they need to fill. And I don't think quarterback is when you got 5 quarterbacks in the room. I mean, I think they can spread that capital elsewhere. And you drafted a guy. Let's see if he can get better. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you don't think he's there yet. Anyway, they drafted him. Nobody else did. Everybody else passed on him. So that has to speak for something. Let's talk about Jackson Dart because he went out there over the weekend. And remember, this was a guy who a lot of people thought should not have been drafted as high as he was. And a lot of people thought he should have been drafted exactly where he was drafted. He went out there in New York for the Giants, went 12 for 19, 154 yards and a touchdown, ran the ball well. He was mobile. He made good decisions with the football. There was a lot of people saying that he had zip on the ball. He was hitting all types of arm angles, looked like Josh Allen. Of course, when you got Josh Allen's old coach and Brian Daboll, of course, that comparison, that's the reason why Daboll wanted him. He wanted that big athletic white boy who could go out there and do the plays in his playbook. Because remember, that's how Daboll got out of Buffalo. He got the job in New York. You know what I mean? That was a step up. Josh Allen got him that job. So this is what you want. You know he got some quarterbacks of older age, in that quarterback room. It is a very good chance that Jackson Dart could take over this job sooner than later. I know Russell's in New York. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Russell's just going to be thrown to the side, but if they fall in love with this white boy, there's a chance he will take this job. Justin, what was your thoughts on Jackson Dart over the weekend?
I think he put Russ on notice, and I'll say this. I'm not saying that Russ can lose his job. I'm not saying Russ is going to lose his job. It's just if he starts off bad, I think they skip Jameis.
Yep.
To Jackson, keep Jameis as the backup, and now Russell is available for someone else if you want a high caliber backup for your franchise. So moving forward, maybe you want somebody for the playoff. Maybe a starting quarterback of high value gets hurt. All right, Russ might be able to come in and fill in if there's a solid team around him, that kind of a thing. He's expendable. Let's just say that. Jackson's Dart performance made Russell Wilson expendable. There we go. So, and I think that's just that's just the bottom line here. Jameis is cool. Jameis is just going to be a backup. But you don't need 3 guys like
and a hell of a motivational speaker.
Yes, he is. And like I said, he'll be the team guy. So there's nothing wrong with Jameis on this team. But I don't want Russell. Let's say Russell starts off 0-4. In New York, they're going to be like, no, we need Jackson. Jackson, go ahead on and start.
100%.
And if that happens, now I got Russell on the bench, and I don't like those options because then you're going to still have to answer those questions. He's going to be the limelight, like, yo, how do you feel being on the bench? Like, yo, he got to get out of there at that point. So I think they protected themselves enough, but they might need to make some decisions moving forward.
Yeah. Calvin, your thoughts?
I think Jackson Dart needs to continue to improve. I mean, this is the first good report that I've heard from him. I mean, there was just bad reports coming out during practice about him not being ready, him just not being able to grasp the reads as of yet. But they do have a succession plan from Russ to Jackson Dart if Russ plays bad or if they feel like Jackson Dart is ready. And he does have a couple decent, one great weapon and a couple decent weapons on that offense. But and like I said, I like Justin said, if there is an injury somewhere, then and Russ becomes available, then that is additional draft capital or that you can get to kind of build around Jackson Dart. I do think we see him later in the year once they're out of playoff contention. Russ was kind of brought there to teach him and to kind of guide him along his way his rookie year. There's no long-term plan for Russ, but there is one for Jackson Dart, and he just has to take the lead and take this team.
Yeah. Like I say, they didn't draft him there for no reason. They all wanted him. That was the guy he went after. And if you remember earlier in Josh Allen's career, he wasn't that accurate. It was reports to say he shouldn't even be a quarterback. There was a lot of things said. He got better. So we'll see. Give him time. Next up, Cam Ward. You know what I mean? The number one pick. The guy that everybody, said he's a can't miss product. He went out there, 5 for 8, 67 yards. Nothing flashy. It's preseason. I didn't think that he played like the other two that we talked about, but I don't think he needed to. I think because he was the number one pick, we have enough. People have enough confidence that he'll be able to do what he needed to do. But he was efficient. He played within the offense. He was fine. Calvin, what was your thoughts, Cam Ward?
Look, he's going to presumptively be another starter going into the season, so you kind of just want to get his feet wet and kind of get him in control of the offense. He didn't really do a lot, but he only played, I believe, 2 drives as a whole, so hopefully he builds upon that this week. But everything that you've heard about him from out of camp, from his teammates, from analysts that have visited Tennessee Titans camp, has been all positive, so hopefully he can continue to build upon that. But, I expect there's going to be one quarterback that has a C.J. Stroud, a Jaden Daniels type season. At least maybe not win-loss record, but at least stats-wise. And I expect that to be Cam Ward this year.
Justin, this your guy. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it is my guy, man. Pause. It's on the field. I see what he's doing. I get it. You guys are spot on with everything you're saying. So to not repeat that, it's the off the field stuff for me. It's I think they had issues in Tennessee camp at one point. He stopped practice. Huddled the whole entire team together, and I guess said some positive words or whatever the case after that. Like he's a leader through and through. I hope and pray that his athletic ability, which is there, his quarterbacking skills, which are there, I just hope they start to match his leadership, because you're going to talk so much if you're not performing on the field. But I have no questions, no quarrels about that. It's just I hope that they both kind of grow at the same time, because the boy's a leader, and whatever he say, the fact that he's a rookie quarterback galvanizing the team already, that's tough, man. That's really tough, and he's doing it. So I'm definitely keeping an eye out for Tennessee Titans this year.
Definitely. But again, I don't like to put too much pressure on some of these quarterbacks, especially when you get drafted that high. You go into a bad team. So let's let them mature. Jaden Daniels was really a surprise. Like you say, we had the C.J. Stroud the year before. So we've been having some quarterbacks here that just shocked the world in many ways. So we're going to be looking at who's going to be that next guy. And these are 3 prime candidates. We talked about Shedeur. We talked about Jackson Dart, Cam Ward. They had some good weekends. They were solid weekends. We'll continue to monitor throughout the preseason. But let's get into our preview for the week. I'm going to start us off this week talking about the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, starting quarterback. The guy's coming off of an MVP season last year. Took his team to the AFC Championship game once again. In many ways, Josh Allen was given a lot of the credit, because going into the season last year, a lot of people did not have this Bills team making the playoffs, yet alone making it all the way to the AFC Championship game. And he put in an MVP campaign after losing a lot of his weapons, which has been well documented. Now he goes into this year, teams will have more of an idea that the weapons aren't coming up on us. Nobody is a surprise. They were able to do what they needed to do. And breaking news on yesterday, contract extension for James Cook, who got that deal done. That was like that last piece. The Bills actually, if you look at all the contracts that they had in the offseason, they let Von Miller walk, but just about everybody else that was available who needed to be signed, they locked them up, including Josh Allen, who got a big-time extension, including, they shored up the defense. went out and got a Joey Bosa who's had his injury issues. So I'm not necessarily believing that will be any major factor in them long term. But still, you lose a Von Miller, you add a veteran in Joey Bosa to go along with the studs that you already had from last year. That defense overperformed on many occasions. Many times, I thought they even bailed the Bills out when Josh Allen wasn't playing his best. They kept him in games. I thought they were opportunistic. And again, you cannot not give enough credit to James Cook, who was very good on the ground. I know a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit, but he overperformed in many ways. And that receiver core is pretty young, but they're versatile. They can go in and out. They're shifty, and they're not really household names that I got to stick this guy. They come up on you in surprise. And then if you take your eyes off the quarterback, he will put you in a spin cycle, and you will be in trouble. So, look, he's a touchdown machine. They will go as Josh Allen goes. If this team stay healthy, I have no doubt they'll be right back in the playoffs. They'll be right back there battling with the Ravens and the Chiefs and any of the top teams in the AFC, competing to try to get back to the Super Bowl. This Bills team looks good, and I think they'll compete once again this year. Justin, your thoughts on this Buffalo Bills team?
They took care of the cloud that was over that team. That James Cook thing was definitely one of those dark clouds that was hanging over. So the fact that they got him his money, and he had to strike now. With this type of team, with Josh Allen being who he is, he had 16 touchdowns in a Pro Bowl last year. Josh Allen can easily take 5 of those away. Easy, just as easy from season to season. So you go from 16 to 11, and they looking at you like, "What you want me to do? You played, right? That was you, right?" So I'm glad they rewarded him, and he knows Josh Allen's tendencies. He plays very well off of him, Paul, as much as you can play for a running back. So the fact that they locked him up, I'm looking forward to the wide receiver core. I hope they take the next step. I hope Keon Coleman takes the next step. I was a fan of his coming out of college. He definitely didn't do as well as I predicted for his rookie campaign, but I'm looking for bigger and better things for him for year 2. And Dawson Kincaid, can you please step up and be the tight end that we want you to be? Josh Allen, these are your weapons, man. You got to start making them like viable threats to make your game easier. I think you just do a little bit too much yourself when you can rely on some of these weapons that you have around you. So make them household names. So that's my challenge to Josh Allen. But this all depends on Josh Allen. So we'll see how far he can go. See if he can beat Patrick.
Calvin, what's your thoughts on the team that you hate the most? Go ahead.
I do not hate this team the most. That is false. I will start by saying, and this will be the last time I say this. Hopefully, it's the last time I say this. Josh Allen did not deserve to win MVP last year. Lamar Jackson was far better. I'll leave it at that. Look at the stats. Look at the numbers. I'll leave it at that. I will say I do expect this team to win the division. I think fairly easily. I think Miami takes a step back. I think New England can surprise and be in that second seed in the division. But I expect Buffalo to be in divisional playoff round come January. It's just a matter of who has home field advantage, who's healthy, and who do you face. Because if you think that 3 of the 4 teams are going to be Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo, who's going to be on the road, who's going to be at home, who's going to where those matches are going to play out in regards to the bracket. So I expect that's where the season to really start for them, because we know what they're capable of. They have a phenomenal offensive line, phenomenal tight ends, phenomenal running back they just signed. Actually, I didn't realize they gave him a little bit more guaranteed money than Derrick Henry, but it's a longer deal, so it kind of spread out a little bit. But they've added to that defense with Joey Bosa. They've revamped that defense last year when they lost a lot of pieces, especially on the back end. They re-signed one of their cornerbacks, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. He played with the Ravens last year as well. But so they have a pretty good team led by Josh Allen, and I think it's just a matter of the matchups and how far they can go. He's had a chance in 2 of the last 4 years to make it to the Super Bowl. This past year, you had the ball with 3 minutes left in the tie ball game. You didn't get past the 50-yard line. When you have to take that next step, this goes for him and for Lamar Jackson as well, because they're both kind of in the same predicament where it comes to Patrick Mahomes, who's been to the last 6 Super Bowls, I believe, since 2019 or 2020. So it's just a matter of who's going to take the next step first between him or Lamar Jackson. But I think we know what to expect from the Bills. We know we're going to see them in January, barring anything weird or anything health related, and that's when that season should truly start, and we'll know what happens then.
Interesting. Okay. Like I say, I think this is a competitive team. they'll be there as normal. As far as Mount Rushmore for Buffalo Bills, and I thought about this one because I was debating back and forth on a couple players, but I think number one for me, OJ has to be on the list. I know everything.
Juice, baby.
Look, man, look, OJ got to be on the list. You know, this isn't what you think he did off the field or whatever like that. OJ is a Buffalo Bill. Definitely on number one on my list. Bruce Smith, number two, the all-time sack leader. He's on the list. If you can't have a Bills Mount Rushmore without Bruce Smith. Now it gets tricky because when we think about the Buffalo Bills, especially when the era we grew up in, like the Bills was in the Super Bowl every year, like 4 years in a row. Like, come on. But they lost. But to that community, those Bills teams, like, how can you not represent? Like, and I'm like, okay, you got Josh Allen or Jim Kelly, who is like a bigger, like featured player as known as a Buffalo Bill. Like, in many ways, I want to put them both on there, but I can't leave off Thurman Thomas. Like, you can't. Like, so Thurman going on my list. I'm gonna say that now. I'm putting OJ, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, and I had to pick one of the quarterbacks. And look, neither one of them have won anything. But for now, Josh will have to wait. I'm going with Jim Kelly as number 4 on my list. Y'all can differ, but I think Jim Kelly going to 4 straight Super Bowls, and the teams that he lost to wasn't no scrubs. I got to tip my cap, man. That says something. Who you got, Calvin? Who's your 4?
I agree with you on 3 of the 4. I got Jim Kelly, got Bruce Smith, and I got the Juice. But instead of Thurman Thomas, I went with Andre Reed.
Okay.
I want Andre Reed over Thurman Thomas. That's the only way I differ. Had a longer career with Buffalo. I mean, I know they were both fixtures in that late 80s, early 90s.
Thurman Thomas is the all-time leading rusher, though. Like, that matters.
Andre Reed was the all-time leading receiver.
I mean, I agree.
So, it's just a matter of do you take Jim Kelly off and put both of them on? Do you have to put the quarterback on? But I want Andre Reed over Thurman Thomas.
Justin, what you got?
I got your same 4. As simple as that. Josh is like, I don't know. I don't know whether I sub out Josh for Jim if Josh wins it. But
he's got to win it.
If he win it, if he
go there and lose, I mean, Jim Kelly did that 4 times.
4 times.
But I don't know if let's say if Josh wins, I don't know whether I keep Jim and take off Thurman. That is that type of conversation. But for now, it's easy because Josh didn't win and he never been to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So Jim, Thurman, Juice, and Bruce.
I think the thing that's interesting, I didn't realize like Jim Kelly played like 10 years. Or something like that. It's like he didn't play over like 12, which is interesting.
For 4 years, he went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm saying in regards to Josh Allen, if Josh wins 1 in that same time period, then is it better to lose 4 or just win 1? You got to have that discussion based off what you believe in sports. So
it's interesting, but like I say, this is one of those teams where
I would want to do a deeper dive with OJ and Thurman, man. Like when I say like 1A, 1B, like it's one ran for 2,000.
1A, I don't think it's a 1A, 1B.
Career wise,
it's a definite 1 and 2 in my opinion.
No, career wise, Thurman was number 1 overall. But I mean, Juicy had a higher peak. He had better college career
in 14 games.
I agree with that.
So you think Thurman's 2?
Definitively, yes.
I would agree with that. That's what I would like to see those stats. It's just game for game, all that type of stuff. And I'm not talking about longevity because Thurman gets the longevity because he played longer.
Correct.
But OJ, man, they both
got his peak. Pause was
a hell of a peak.
Yeah, it's like all time greats. And that's how great he was when he was at the top of his game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the Chargers. Justin, take it away.
All right, here we go. you changed up my joint. I ain't had all that.
That's every word you had.
I'm gonna rock with it. It is, but I had different logos at the top because
you use an old slide. I didn't know where you kept that from. I was like, what is this?
I created that just like
Oh man, good job, man. Good job.
All right, here we go. I ain't gonna lie, look a little better. Starting quarterback Justin Herbert, biggest offseason loss. J.K. and Poona Ford, their stud D tackle. Best offseason addition. It would definitely be Mecca Becton from Philadelphia, rookie running back Omarion Hampton, and we're gonna go with one-eyed Najee Harris. Players to look out for, players a unit to watch out. Basically, and I've been preaching this, and I think Jim Harbaugh is feeling the same exact way. Justin Herbert he is, I guess, practice wise, regular season wise, footage wise, he's a very, very good quarterback. Playoffs, he is not a very, very good quarterback. It's just something about him in the playoffs. It gets too much for him, and he falters almost every time. And I know Jim knows that. And I said last year had this team sprung out and got a great running back like Philadelphia did, like the Ravens did. Had they got one of those type of characters other than J.K., I think they would have had a much more successful season. But instead of doing that route, they went and got Najee Harris before the eye injury. And Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton is one of those rookies where he's going to get a lot of work in this system. He's going to get a lot of work. Now, they just lost their left tackle. He's gone for the year. He's one of the best left tackles in the game. So that's going to hurt them a little bit. But picking up Mecca, man, he is 6'7", like 300 playing guard. Like, he is a mammoth of a man. So the inside game pass is going to be running full effect. The problem with the left tackle being hurt, and he was one of the best left tackles in the game, is the fact that that's Justin Herbert's blind side. So he's going to have to throw the ball accurately, get it out his hand quickly, so he doesn't have to run into any issues. And that's a problem. In the defense, man, they had a top 11 defense last year. They lost a D tackle. They picked up a D tackle as a rookie, so hopefully he fills the spot somewhat. But they did have a top 4 rush defense, and they just have to continue to prime pressure with Khalil Mack and everybody. And we're gonna see what happens. So the Chargers in this division, they should make the playoffs. But for me, and my taste, my liking, I got them being third. I had Denver jumping over them. So yeah, all that to say they're gonna be third in the division, arguing, trying to get a playoff spot. That's the type of team they're gonna have, unfortunately.
Calvin, your thoughts?
I may be a little bit more optimistic. I think they're second in the division and the potential to be first, but I think this is a fairly tough division when you can make
they're better than Denver offhand.
I think I like their coaching staff better than Denver, and I will give the edge to Herbert over Bo Nix. I mean, Denver's defense is better.
You know Sean Payton won a Super Bowl, right?
Okay. I still like Harbaugh. Okay. That's fine. But I think we've seen the maturation of Herbert under Harbaugh. Now, they had this running game last year. They lose J.K. ironically to Denver within the division. So they're really going to be relying on Najee Harris. This is the thing. I don't give the Herbert a pass this year just because of the injury to the left tackle. Because they got Joe Alt on the right side who played left tackle at Notre Dame. So you can easily swap him to the left side. So there should be no fall off of that position. Now, if you want to say the right side becomes weak, okay, you could chip a tight end. You could chip it with the back. But that back side, I think, will be protected. So you should not have him, worrying to get the ball out or turn the ball over because of that left side. So I'm not going to give him
play left tackle. That's true.
Yeah, I'm not going to give him a pass just because of the injury and I'm blanking on his name, to the left tackle. When you have, I think he was number 4 overall draft pick last year.
Rashawn Slater.
Rashawn Slater. We had the number 4 overall draft pick last year, and adding him to the offensive line, one of the better offensive lines last year. Obviously, they won't be as good, but I do think that blind side will be protected. So that's not an excuse to shit for Justin Herbert. They need to make the playoffs. They need to at least win one game and upset someone, one of those big 3 that we just talked about, that's always in the divisional round. Now, can they do that? Can they have to worry about finishing ahead of Denver first? Does Kansas City slide back? We'll talk about those things as well. But I think all that comes into play with the Chargers. But I think it all starts for them, within their division and being competitive within the division week in and week out.
Yeah, I like this team last year. They had my hopes high on many occasions, thinking that they could run that round, that ground and pound game, that running game with all those running backs, and then J.K. got hurt. You know what I mean? They weren't able to fulfill that type of game plan over the course of 17 games. Herbert is still inconsistent. The receiving corps isn't the greatest, but they did, go out and get one of the greatest receivers of all time team history. We'll see if that helps shore that back up, but I don't think so. But again, we need to see more. I think Harbaugh will have this team better in year 2. They'll be in contention, but I don't have any high hopes for them to win the division or anything like that. Justin, give us the Mount Rushmore for the LA Chargers.
This was on the more difficult side for me compared to some of these other teams.
It was easy.
Nah, because I don't have Phillip Rivers and I don't have Dan Fouts. So that's why, normally quarterback.
I didn't think they would want to.
Okay, understood. All right, let's rock out with it then. I got LT obviously, Junior Seau obviously, and I go double tight end. I go Antonio Gates and Kellen Winslow. Just there we go. Gates is great. He just went to the Hall of Fame. LT is LT, obviously. Junior Seau's one of the greatest linebackers of all time. And Kellen pretty much put everybody on the map of what it is to be a tight end in modern day history.
What you got, Calvin?
I got the same 4. I got the 2 tight ends. I got Junior Seau and I got LT. I thought that was fairly easy, honestly.
Normally quarterbacks go. That's why I was. And Dan Fouts was great. Phillip Rivers was.
I got Phillip Rivers over Dan Fouts, and I don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. So,
y'all don't have Dan Fouts on the Mount Rushmore of the San Diego Superchargers. Are you kidding me?
Who are you taking off?
Look.
The fact that you guys said think about it lets me know my point.
Kellen Winslow, I'm sure he was tremendous. I never seen him.
That's what you ain't see Dan Fouts.
I did see San Diego Superchargers.
If you see Dan Fouts, you see Kellen Winslow because they play together.
I'm just joking, man. It is what it is. I tried to mix it up. Y'all wouldn't let me. Yeah,
no,
we all got the same 4. That's boring. Calvin, tell us about the Washington Commanders.
That's how you do it. Just go to the next team.
This ain't even my slide, but okay.
Oh, what happened? Oh, I didn't change the quarterback, but we all know who the quarterback is. Go ahead. I was copying and pasting, ran out of time. Go ahead.
Yes, quarterback JD5, not Sam Howell. They lost Jonathan Allen to the Minnesota Vikings. He was like one of the dead defensive linemen, kind of one of the vets in the locker room. Feels like he's been in the league forever, but he's only been like in the league like 6-7 years out of Alabama. But he's just one of those guys. When he came in, he was he played like a vet. He took control of that locker room, and he's going to be a big loss, just kind of off the field, and just in my opinion, in Washington. They did add Debo, who's a weapon for JD5. Now it kind of will offset if they lose Terry McLaurin and don't have both of them on the field. So you need to add Debo to Terry McLaurin and not Debo in lieu of Terry McLaurin. So they've got to get the situation kind of remedied in Washington. So what's going to be the solution to this? Does Terry McLaurin get a new contract? Does he agree with the contract that they give him, which is probably going to be less years with more money? Will this be resolved for the beginning of the season within 2 weeks? We haven't heard a lot of this. We know he's not practicing, but he's just kind of doing an in-house sit-in type of situation where he's just there, not getting fined, but he's not practicing. He's not getting ready for the season with his team. So what's going to be the resolution to the situation? I mean, he wants to get paid. He deserves to get paid. I just think it's bad timing on his part because of the JD5 situation with his contract potentially kind of overlapping with McLaurin's contract. Just the length of the contract McLaurin wants. I think all that plays a part. And there's nothing that Washington can do right now trading McLaurin that would benefit them next year. Now, they may get a draft pick the following year, but it doesn't happen this year. They won't get a player of McLaurin's caliber this year to fit with JD5, and they have aspirations of going back to the NFC Championship at worst. So they've got to resolve the situation. If it's just throwing a lot of money at him in the short term, that may work, but I know he wants that long-term security. And can JD5 continue to improve? The last 2 years, we've seen a quarterback and have a sophomore slump. Last year was C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud came off that great freshman campaign 2 years ago, and he really had a sophomore slump. And you can blame the offensive line. Washington beef for the offensive line, ironically with Larry Tunsil from Houston. You can blame just some of the injuries that they had down in Houston last year, but can JD5 not go through the same situation as some of his predecessors, some of his other younger quarterbacks? Can he get over that sophomore slump and continue to lead this team? The trajectory is just going up, in my opinion. But what happens is you have this rookie contract, this rookie QB on a rookie contract. You got to continue to surround him with players, with high paid players, while you're paying your quarterback so cheaply. And then Washington has done a decent job there this year with adding Deebo Samuels as well. But they've got to continue to do that. And if they have to continue to grow, especially at the quarterback position, and they have to continue to grow in this offense. So will they take that next step this year, and when they get closer to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are easily the class in this conference?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think the addition of Deebo is great. But without Terry McLaurin there with him, it doesn't have a pop. You know what I mean? So they really need to handle that business. Do I think Terry is going to hold out and not play the whole season? No, I think he'll play. I think he'll play because there's time left on his deal. Had they let it go all the way down to the wire, maybe. But because there's time left on his deal, I think he'll suck it up, go out there. Will he not play his best because he's pissed? I think players have pride. Players don't want to put bad tape on film. Bad play on film. I think he'll go out there and play well. The bigger question for me is this defense. How will this defense perform this year? They got some names. They got some people that played well, overperformed. You didn't see them coming last year. But losing Jonathan Allen, I think that matters. I think that is not like a little thing you just wipe away. I think JD5 and not having his number one guy there throughout camp and preseason, I don't think is as big long term, but I think they can help them get out to a slow start. You know what I mean? I think and when you talk about seeding and positioning in the playoffs, you can't get out to no slow start. And I haven't taken a deep look at their schedule and who they have early in the season, but all these offseason things always spill over into the first couple weeks of the season if you're not ready. So I think that's important. I think Washington might take a step back year 2 JD5. That's just my opinion. Just off of all this turmoil, we're not taking care of that business with Terry McLaurin. And you integrating in a new receiver in Deebo, who's not a traditional wide receiver. He's more of a Swiss Army knife, like a switchblade. He's not like a gadget guy. Not necessarily. I'm not going to disrespect him and call him a gadget guy, but like he's not a traditional wide receiver. You know what I mean? Anyway, what's your thoughts, Justin?
Normally, when you have issues in the off season, it follows you into the season. Normally, when you don't play, when you do the holdouts, normally, I'm not saying for every case, but that's when injuries come out of nowhere, right? And Terry he's been doing great of avoiding a lot of injuries throughout his career. Are you getting the work in that you're supposed to be? Are you getting those practice reps that you're supposed to be?
Yeah.
So you gonna come into the season? Those are the questions I have for him. I think because of this, and like I said, it's between him, it's between their budget team, their general manager, and all that. But they're really spoiling JD5's year 2. If I would have said you got Terry on one side and Deebo lining up anywhere else on the field with the scramble and escapability that JD5 has, and it would have been a vicious combination, but. Now I can kind of key in a little bit more on Deebo, so and also on JD5 because I ain't got to worry about Terry, or Terry might be a shell of himself. It might take him half the season to get back into game shape. Like who knows? So I just think that they're fumbling the bag right now, and that's just usually what happens from time to time. But I agree. I think they take 1 or 2 steps back, mainly towards Dallas. I think Dallas takes 1 or 2 steps up. So yeah, that's usually what happens sometimes.
And you know, if you really look at Terry McLaurin and his career, he is very unassuming. He is not a guy that go out there and look at me, beat my chest, and gotta have the cameras on him. He'd be doing his work. Look, I got Sam Howell on the screen. Yeah, Sam. Look how many different quarterbacks he's had since he's been there. And you go and get him a young quarterback last year that he finds that connection with. Week in and week out, this guy was making big plays. Week in and week out, he was making touchdown catches, miraculous plays. You don't want to keep that guy happy. You don't want to nurture that and help make that grow. Like that to me is just a malpractice of general managership and just leadership as a whole. You don't have a good history of taking care of big-time players. So when you get a connection like that, you got to handle your business, especially for this new ownership group. I'm very disappointed in some of the decisions they've made, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I can go a little deeper into some of the decisions they made as far as, with the stadium and some of the Trump stuff. And there's other stuff I've been hearing about more and more being connected to some people who work there. But this is a layup. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
I don't think it's a layup because I think you make this decision now and it affects you 3-4 years down the road. And I think that's what they're looking at. I'm never saying no one deserves to get paid. I'm just saying I don't want to pay you for 4 or 5 years. I can give you a short-term deal and give you money based off that short-term deal, but I can't give you 4 or 5 deals and have the end of your contract overlap with the beginning of JD5s. So now all of a sudden I'll have you on the books for at whatever number, and you won't be as productive as you are now because you'll be on the backside 30, on over 35 at that point, and I'm paying this young receiver $60 million at that point. I just don't think it's something that I can do. Now I have no problem giving you 2 or 3 years. I can't give you 5. I can't give you. I think he wants receiver in Pittsburgh was in Seattle. DK money.
DK.
He wants DK money.
He's not compatible with DK?
DK is 27. I have no problem doing that. You're 30 going on 31. I can't give you DK money for 5 years. And I don't even know. I'm not looking at the numbers. I think DK is a more physical receiver, but maybe he's more McLaurin's more productive. But I haven't looked at the numbers. But I'm just going based off of a productivity standpoint in 3-4 years. That's all I'm saying.
Well, good luck. I think as a Cowboys fan, you don't want him to give him that. That's what
I don't care if they give him to him because
that's what it is.
The Cowboys will fit behind him anyway.
We know that. Anyway, give us that Mount Rushmore of the Commanders, please.
I think this was kind of difficult. The first one I had was John Riggins. I got Darryl Green. I got Art Monk. And the last spot, I wanted to go Theismann. I wanted to go. Why am I bringing Doug Williams? But I'm like, they only played for a short period. Doug Williams only played like 3 years. I wanted to go Brian Mitchell. I wanted to go all 3 of those guys. So I settled on Joe Gibbs, the best coach in Washington Redskins football team Commanders history. 3 different Super Bowls, 3 different quarterbacks, and then came back for another stint in the early 2000s. I think he deserves to be in Mount Rushmore. So those are my 4.
Justin?
Darryl Green, obviously. Art Monk. I put John Riggins on there, and I want to show love to the offensive line of the Washington Redskins. Those quote-unquote hogs were some of the best offensive lines in the NFL history for a stretch of time. So definitely wanted to show them some love. I'm just not going to point out one guy from that particular line, but they all made it easy for John Riggins to run. I'll say that. And the 4th one, I hear you on Gibbs.
I thought those were your 4. Or you just,
no.
You were just shouting out the old line. Okay.
Shouting out by way of John Riggins.
Okay.
And the 4th one is a guy that people might not know about. His name is Charlie Taylor. He played in the 70s, and just know that he made the Pro Bowl as a running back 3 times and made the Pro Bowl as a wide receiver 5 times. Second in Washington history in receiving yards, just under 10,000. So I had to dig a little bit. I was like, all right, let's see what's going on. And I was like, damn, like this dude was really nice for them. So I'm gonna have to go with him. Just the fact that he could play multiple positions and be damn near Hall of Famer out there. So that's a hell of a career.
Let me be honest with you. I'm sure if you are a Washington football fan, you have a great cherished memory for your team over the years. My Uncle Carl, late Uncle Carl, rest his soul, when the Colts left town, he became a huge Washington fan because we didn't have a team here, and they were like a black team in his mind. They the black team of the league. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And a lot of that he attributed to Art Monk. He definitely believed he was one of the greatest Washington. I hate using that word, but at the time they were the Redskins. Art Monk, Darrell Green, those were his guys. You know what I mean? So I give him deference, and I'll put them on the list for sure. Great players. Darrell Green, probably the greatest Washington player of all time, if you look at it statistically and everything like that, and what he meant to the league. But if I'm making a Mount Rushmore list, John Riggins definitely has to go on that list. And then Joe Theismann has to go on that list. Joe Theismann, we know his tragic injury when he broke his leg on TV, and that really shocked a lot of people. But Joe Theismann was the best quarterback. Even though Doug Williams won the Super Bowl, over the course of time, Joe Theismann probably was known as their probably franchise quarterback. So I think Joe goes on that list. John Riggins, Art Monk, and Darrell Green. That's the four. And shout out to Sean Taylor. He probably would have been the greatest Redskin of all time had his life not get cut short. But he definitely should be an honorable mention as far as his contributions to the team. That's pretty much it. Because at a certain year, that team has been trash.
You say that. I can go the opposite end. They got a lot of great players that played in the 40s. They got a lot of girls like, yo.
That's what I say. After a certain year.
Jesus. Yeah. 1940, 1950. God damn.
Trash. Anyway, that's our list for this week.
So say your four again.
John Riggins, Joe Theismann, Art Monk, and Darrell Green.
Okay.
Who'd you have?
I had the same three, but I had Joe Gibbs instead of
You had Gibbs, yeah. I had Taylor, you had
Cop out. Got you. All right. Good list for this week. All right, next up. Justin, you posted this week and want us to discuss this one. I thought it was interesting. I also understood what you were meant by it. But so kick us off. What was your thoughts on this particular listing? And if you had to put them in order, how would you do it?
So, we all see memes and things like that. What defensive guy would you want on your team and so on and so forth. What great duo, but it might be from the same team, like let's say Ray Lewis and Ed Reed or something like that. Those were like the normal ones that we always see. This one was like, oh, this is a little different. I haven't necessarily seen like the different. Well, one person and another person, different teams, maybe different eras at the same time too. So I really appreciated whoever put this together. So for me, and when you start to try to go around this list, these four, it ain't easy. I'll say that. But for me, I guess getting to the quarterback will be paramount. And having great coverage will be a secondary thing. So I will go with LT first. So LT and Woody. Second, I'm gonna skip that philosophy and I'm going right to Dion because it's Dion. And I'm going with Bruce Smith and Dion. And third, shout out to Revis, the modern day lockdown cornerback, and Reggie White, in which can't wait to talk about him once we get to Philadelphia. And last but not least, it's just process elimination at this point. Aaron Donald, Rod Woodson. What y'all got?
Calvin, go ahead.
I'm starting with Bruce and Dion. Then I'm going LT and Charles Woodson, Revis and Reggie, and then Darrell and Rod Woodson fourth.
It's tough.
I think that's my order.
I think I got the same order. Because for me, Deion's the best lockdown corner of all time.
You sure is.
Of the four, yes. Well, yeah, of all time.
All time.
He's the best of these four as well, but yes.
And I think
ain't too many more out there other than he's
he's
pretty good quarterbacks.
I think don't let somebody hear you say that. Who was that? Somebody Samuels.
Oh Lord. Richard Sherman too.
He was not no lockdown corner. Stop it.
Cover two. Tell him. Talk to him.
Cover two all day.
I agree. Talk to him.
I think Deion and Bruce, they give you the best of both worlds. Like Bruce he get to the quarterback at will, and he's the all-time leading sack guy for the NFL. I mean, it's not like I know there's some of that goes into longevity, but
I thought it was
somebody surpassed
Strahan.
No, he had it in one season.
Oh, you're talking about
okay. All time.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, you got the two best of both worlds. So that's number one. I agree. LT and Revis at one point. Revis Island was for real. Like that wasn't a myth.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have him in a Jets jersey.
No.
That's Charles Woodson.
Right. That's Woodson in top left.
Oh hell yeah! I'm going Revis and my man. Come on, like that's not even a question. Like for what? Well, no, that's the question. Are we talking Philly?
Yeah.
Randy. Okay. Yeah. Reggie White in Philly, I think was better than Reggie White in Green Bay.
He was.
So I'm taking they number two for me. So our list is different. Excuse me. I go LT and Charles Woodson third, and then I go Rod Woodson, which all due respect to Rod as a corner in Pittsburgh before he moved to safety in Baltimore, he was sensational.
Comparing them to these three is
yes.
Yeah.
And we all know what Big 99 meant in LA, but it was short, but it was explosive.
But he's the only D tackle. I'm not saying anything about D tackles, but
Reggie White could play D tackle and DN. He mixed it up.
Okay, but Reggie played DN
Reggie was like
more.
a 3-4 DN. Like
Reggie played DN more than Aaron Donald.
True, but he can get on the nose. He can get on the nose too, though. Yeah, I get it though. Yeah, I think interesting.
It was a quick hitter. Nothing. It was nice though.
All right, cool. All right, nothing to belabor, but it was nice. We'll keep that going. Let's talk some NBA. Justin, I know this is near dear to your heart that you sent out the schedule. I know I heard you. I saw a video of you talking about the Knicks. That was there. I said, "Damn, you talking about the Knicks is July? I mean, August. Goddamn, let it breathe." But hey, basketball season right around the corner. So let's get into it. The NBA released their schedule coming up. Opening night will be on NBC. Peacock will be streaming it. Tip off on Tuesday, October 21st. It's the new deal back on NBC. You got the Rockets with KD against the defending NBA champions in the OKC Thunder in
Ring
OKC.
ceremony.
Yes, sir, to get their rings. And then the late game, you got the Golden State Warriors and Lucas Lakers at 10 p.m. doubleheader. Opening night.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you. Lucas Lakers. I gotta get used to that. You're right.
That's what
You
they
said
are.
nothing wrong. They're
Yeah.
definitely Lucas Lakers. Yeah, you're right.
Preview it for us, Justin. What's your thoughts?
The first this OKC Rockets thing is it's hilarious to me. I don't know of a bigger insult that the NBA had for Kevin Durant than for him to come back home to OKC and to watch them get crowned and do something that you couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that is I tune in just for that first 10 minutes just to see how he looking, just to see his reaction and all that. That's hilarious to me. That's high level TV for me. Drama in the NBA. And then move. I mean, just the game itself, because Rockets is going to be one of those championship material type teams, depending on how they play themselves out throughout the rest of throughout the course of the season. So they're definitely going to see each other again. Might even be in the playoffs. So it's just definitely a great way to start. And then you go to the late game, Lucas Lakers, and with Steph and Jimmy Butler. It's a lot. LeBron. I overshadow LeBron. LeBron James. So you got stars all throughout this particular matchup. So that's definitely it'll be great to see. We're going to see how skinny Luka looks in his NBA debut. So once again, I think could you find better games possibly? But these ain't bad. It's a great way to start NBA tip-off.
Yeah, what's your thoughts, Calvin?
I think we got two great matchups. I think it's ironic that we don't even feature the East in either matchup. You can say it's difficult, but it's easy to put one of those teams, OKC, on opening night. But I do think you get this new look at this Houston Rockets team that's supposed to contend against OKC. You get another look at Shea and see how they come out as defending champs. And then while they are Luka's Lakers, you get LeBron and Steph again, at least potentially at this point. So I think that's always a money maker for the league, and that's that kind of their go-to matchup. You look at Christmas and you see the same four teams just playing different opponents. So
interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's so far in advance. I don't know what you really can glean from opening games early in the season, but we'll see. ESPN's opening night. The next night, you got Cleveland and Knicks, San Antonio and Dallas. Then on Thursday, so back-to-back nights they got games. Remember, no more TNT, so we're going to see more games on ESPN now. You got OKC and Indiana. No Tyrese Halliburton, so that's a whole different animal. Denver and Golden State. So you get Golden State on national TV, OKC on national TV twice in 1 week. Your thoughts here, Calvin?
So NBC has the Friday night games now?
Oh, I'm about to get to that next.
Okay. It's interesting. You got New York. I'm sorry, you got OKC and Golden State on back-to-backs the first weekend, first 2 nights of the league year. But you get to see Wemby, you get to see AD and Cooper Flag on Wednesday night, which would be interesting. A potential matchup at the Eastern Conference Finals between Cleveland and New York. You get some great matchups out the way early. So it's a good start for the league on these new media deals.
What's your thoughts, Justin?
Well, the one that you skipped out of everyone you just mentioned is the one that everyone wants to see. It's the 7:00 p.m. show.
I said Cleveland, New York. I said potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup.
You need to put more emphasis on it. You got Cleveland, and then you have the Knicks. That's how you're supposed to represent. That's how you're supposed to introduce this team. No, I just misheard you. No, it's a great way to start out. I know people on the Knicks telewire was like, well, where's Atlanta? Where's Detroit? So they wanted necessarily those two, but Cleveland's a top dog. They was number 1 in the conference for a reason. So let's just go ahead on and see what we can do with them. To see Wemby. Is Wemby 100% cleared yet? I hope he is.
He said he was. I want to say at Summer League or around that time.
Okay, bet. Great. Well, shout out to his health and everything like that. Those blood clots or whatever he had is nothing to play with. So glad that he's got a full bill of health and let him go against Cooper Flag and AD. That's what we want to see, man. This is San Antonio's year, man. Not necessarily the year to win it, but the year to put themselves back on the map. And it has to start game 1. So they put a notice to Dallas saying like, yo, we here. I know it's an 82 game schedule, but you got to start somewhere. Shout out to Wemby, man. Wemby need to get MVP eventually. You got to start racking them up. OKC, Indiana, they definitely had this made up last year before the injury because I have no idea why Indiana is getting this type of shine featured at this night. It's bad. It's bad optics. If no one's we're going to skip that game. And then we're going to go right to Denver and we're going to see Jokic, and his campaign starts out. So, just wonderful night of football, basketball. Wonderful
You're right,
nights.
football.
Wait, one thing we didn't talk about, our resident Spurs fan. How you feel about that De'Aaron Fox contract?
I thought it was solid. I'm not mad at it. Basketball, you're supposed to pay the guys. You know what I mean? That's how you're supposed to do. Retain your talent. Football should learn from that. You know what I mean?
I didn't expect that from you. Okay.
Retain your talent.
Somebody on that team.
I mean, no, they just drafted Dylan Harper. You can make the argument that they don't need both of them.
Load up.
Okay.
Load up. Let's go. Friday night game. First night on Amazon Prime. You got Boston and New York at 7:30. Big primetime marquee game in the East. Remember there's no Jason Tatum, but I think Boston still will be able to roll out a solid team.
And win.
And then the late game, the Minnesota Timberwolves take on the Lakers, the team that, remember, the Timberwolves put the Lakers out of the playoffs last year, and Anthony walked around the stadium like he just won the NBA title. And then I don't think they won another game. But, good on them for winning that NBA title by beating the Lakers last year, but do something after that. So we'll see what Luka does, how he look on that Ozempic. And, that new look Luka, how he looking coming out in 2025. Calvin, your thoughts?
Two good matches. We'll see how Boston looks. We'll kind of get a feel when not they're tanking early on this year, in my opinion. But Knicks should roll for just their first on their home on Wednesday. And as the Lakers matchup, look, I'm telling you now, my early money is Luka for MVP. He's in shape. He's in LA. He's gonna have his media force behind him. If they finish top 3, it's Luka's MVP to lose. All these primetime games, you're gonna have whatever. You're gonna have maybe a push from LeBron on his last season in LA. Luka for MVP. You're gonna see it on a lot on primetime matchups on Prime, on Peacock, on ESPN.
Justin,
we gotta start the season off right. Shout out to the Knicks. We didn't beat a top seeded team last year in the East. We lost to Cleveland. We lost to OKC. I know they're in the West. We did a horrible job. So let's start this season off right. Let's get through Cleveland. Let's get through Boston. I don't care who is on the floor for Boston. Let's just beat them. I don't care. I don't trust them. They don't F around and still be like top 6 seed. With that being said, thank you, Larry, for bringing that part, that Ant-Man stat up, because he definitely did parade around the city. And Luka and LeBron definitely remember that. Luka's going to put up 50 that game. They're going to win.
Yeah, it's going to be a revenge tour for Luka this year. I really do have that in my sights. And then let's jump ahead. Some dates mean a lot more than others. We know they're going to do the in-season tournament again this year, but then Christmas Day, they released the Christmas Day schedule, and you got 5 games on Christmas Day again. NFL is on Christmas Day, another loaded day of sports. You got Cleveland and New York. First time we mentioned Cleveland this week so far. San Antonio, OKC. You got Dallas and Golden State. Houston and LA got Durant and LeBron. And then you got the late game is Minnesota and Golden State. Some of the same teams we've been seeing over and over. So the NBA playing the hits. You know what I mean? These are the matchups. Justin, your thoughts on the Christmas Day matchups?
I think it's once again. I think they definitely trying to compete with the NFL. That's an uphill battle. But this is their best product. You have Jokic, you have Ant-Man, you have KD, you have Luka and LeBron, you have Steph, you have Cooper Flag, you have Wemby, you have Shea, you have Jalen Brunson, you have Cat, you have Cleveland, whoever is on Cleveland.
Hey, Donovan Mitchell. Say his name slow.
So this is it. So I mean, I'll be interested in seeing the ratings. Unfortunately, you can't have half of those guys play the other half of those guys in one game. It's not an all-star game. But at the end of the day, I am going to be looking a little bit over there, see what's going on. If not focusing majority of my attention on the NBA, and then seeing what's going on in football on the back end. So it's going to be a fun Christmas. If you got kiddies, just go ahead on and get them out of the way early.
You know what's interesting? Look at this. 5 games, 2 East teams. on the whole list.
I agree.
Calvin, your
Disrespectful.
thoughts?
It's
No,
disrespectful.
no Orlando. That's that team y'all been talking about.
No
Boston.
Atlanta. No, well, I'm not surprised about Boston, but no Atlanta.
I mean, they're only missing one guy. Like, what we doing?
They traded two of them, so I
Just saying.
But look, no Orlando, no Atlanta. You know who I blame for this? I blame Zion.
No Giannis.
The 2 years that they put Zion on Christmas, and he didn't even make it to that point in the season. So now they don't want to give these young upstart players and teams like Apollo, like a Trae Young, who's reloaded back in Atlanta, a shot. You can easily give two of these East Coast teams. You haven't seen them yet. You haven't seen Orlando or Atlanta yet through all the slides you've gone through yet. You've seen the same repetitive teams that keep appearing. You could have had Apollo. You could have had Orlando or Atlanta. That would have been a phenomenal matchup in Orlando or Atlanta on Christmas Day. Now, I'm not knocking any of the matchups that we've seen on the screen, but I don't have to see Minnesota. I've seen Minnesota enough. I've seen them losing the playoffs enough. It's cool. It's okay.
2.
Dallas. We know Dallas won't have Kyrie. It may just be if you want to feature Cooper Flag. Okay, of course. But let's be for real. It's going to be an Anthony Davis show. We've seen Anthony Davis until Cooper Flag is very towards the latter part of the season. Let's focus on other teams. I want to see different teams on Christmas Day. This is going to cause me to turn to football because I'm seeing the same repetitive teams, and I can already tell who I expect to win most of these matchups. So why not see some new exciting teams? I blame Zion. Should stay healthy.
Well, I'm not gonna say you can just tell who's gonna win. Some of these games are evenly matched, I like
Golden State.
The travesty is the Bucks
like Cleveland
not having a team that's worthy of being marquee when you got Giannis Antetokounmpo on your team.
You haven't seen him yet. You don't know when he's playing.
It's almost like they're assuming they're gonna be traded or something.
They'll tell you he ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, but anyway,
come January 1st.
Very interesting that you don't have Giannis, a top 5 player, on any of these matchups.
Giannis to OKC, you heard it here first.
Anyway,
just want you to know that.
Really quick, went to the yard last Saturday for Adam Jones night. He got his green jacket. They were giving out bobbleheads. I just missed it. Yo, them bobbleheads, I don't know what time people was getting at that stadium, man.
When the gates opening 2 hours early?
Man, they was gone, man. I was pissed. But the Orioles got smashed. But besides the point, it was great to see good crowd in the yard, to see Adam Jones get on it. And I really think people underestimate how important Adam Jones was to our team when he was here. He was a black star playing baseball. And that means something, man. That means something. And I appreciate my time following the team. I was season ticket holder during 4 of those years while Adam Jones was in town. And it was great memories. Went to the playoffs twice. Man, he did his thing, man. Put up good numbers. And I think he was worthy of being honored. Shout out to Adam Jones. We appreciate the time you had here in Baltimore. Calvin, your thoughts on Adam Jones?
Go with Justin for a second. I want to ask you a question, but I'll pull something up first.
Go on, Justin.
He was a great Oriole. Gold Glover and all those things. Highlights out the wazoo. So the fact that he was there, he got his little jacket. Buck was right there with him. I didn't like that pat on the head though. I could have did without that. It was a bit much. It was just deservedly so. All those good things. I'd be interested in going to the ballpark and seeing his name amongst the others. Statue, no, but great player.
No. He got a plaque in center field.
That's good enough. He's no Eddie Murray. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, shout out to Adam Jones. They were getting that space ready when I went out there a couple weeks ago to put his plaque in behind center field. He was kind of part of the revitalization of Orioles baseball. What was that, in 2008 when he got traded for Eric Bedard to Seattle, and he came here, and it kind of started that 4 to 5 year run, ended in around 2014 where they won a division, made the playoffs, made the ALCS, I believe.
I was there.
The year they lost to the Royals, I believe. I think that was that year. So he was part of bringing baseball back to the yard, making it exciting again, and hopefully leading to an all-star game within the next couple of years. So definitely shout out to Adam Jones. But what I wanted to pull up was you said I forgot you were a season ticket holder. So how do you feel about them changing those packages and upping the price, after the year they've had?
Well, how you think I feel? I'm the guy who left the Orioles since 2018.
I want to just speak as a season ticket holder.
As a season ticket holder, I think they're gouging the fans and not spending money on the players, that giving money the team back the value. So no, I don't like it.
I don't like when people say that because I can't say that they didn't spend money on players last year. I can't say that. Just last year. I'm not going back any further.
Who they signed?
It's not about, but my problem is they only signed O'Neal and some ancillary pieces, but they went after Corbin Burns. They made him a significant offer. It wasn't like they lowballed him.
Did they match or beat the offer from another team?
They couldn't. It was hard for them to match it because it was a no tax state. For some, I believe they had to pay him like $50 million more just to kind of get it to equate tax wise. And Arizona was home for him, so you can't put a price on going home and getting paid. So I can't
put a stink of a product on the field, and then you want to raise the prices. I mean, let's just look at it like that. And it's a new ownership group, so of course, people gonna look at it like, all right, is this what we really going to pay more money for? Of course, some people will. Some people will do what they got to do. Now, as far as the packages, do you have the details on what those packages are broke down to?
So they're eliminating the 13 and 29 game plans, and they're going to 20 and 40 games. So if you had 13, they're pushing you to the 20 game option. If you had 29, they're pushing you to the 40 game option.
Do you know how many people had that 13 game plan and just spread it out? You know what I mean? Like that's a value. You could have went to 15 and people wouldn't even been mad. Why you gonna go all the way up to 20 and they're gonna raise the price on that? Then some of the games are premium games, ain't they? Like, oh, you can't get these included in there for 20. How many Yankees games I'm getting with that 20? How many Boston games I'm getting with that? It's just a way of icing people out, not bringing people in, and that is the problem with Orioles as an organization, and it didn't just start. That's the problem. That's the problem, Justin.
No, I mean, this was definitely one of the main things that was talked about. 105.7, our local sports network here on AM radio. AM, FM? Somebody's radio. FM. And it was just the overall consensus was just, now we do this. Like it was just now because the product, so it's a way. They do a play on words. They say, yeah, we having a bad season, but last season, we was really good. Well, 2 seasons ago, we was really good, and a half of the season we was really good, and then we struggled on our way out towards us being underperforming in the playoffs, and it led right into this season. So if you go from that metric, yeah, this is a terrible product for the last 14, 15 months now. So it's not the best thing going, and then they decided to pull this. I get it, because that's just the way business is. That's the way money is. But, I agree with Larry. Like, you couldn't meet somewhere in the middle. You couldn't stop at 15. You had to jump up to 20. And then some of those people, even if you got the 20, your seats ain't guaranteed where you want them at.
Thank you.
Oh, what are we doing here?
Thank you. It's a dumb proposition, because at the end of the day, we all look around that stadium and see how many empty seats is in there. So don't tell me that you should be not doing the best you can to fill up the game as much as you can. But instead, you're going to do stuff that constricts and pushes people out and make people say, okay, I'll just watch something else. That is what they're not competing with a rival baseball organization, or, they're competing against the television. They're competing against us doing other things with our time. They're competing against the Savannah Bananas. You know what I mean? Like, they're competing against things that other people be like, I don't need to prioritize this to enjoy my life. And so you should be doing whatever you can. You should be allowing people to continue to bring their food from the outside. You should be allowing people to continue to do anything that makes them comfortable to come and sit in that stadium and pay whatever money they paying to you to watch your team play. I just think it's dumb strategy on their part. whatever market research they did and try and compare themselves, the Orioles have not had a faithful fan base. Let's be 100% honest. Since the 1990s, when 1998 happened, and Cal Ripken went away in what 99, 2000.
Like 0203.
But let's be real. Like that's when the team started really being like, okay, we need. When Mike Bordick took over for Cal Ripken at shortstop, and he went to third, and it was a different type of personnel that was coming to that park. I was there in the early 2000s when we had Melvin Mora and Tony Batista, and then we went out and finally spent a little money and got Miguel Tejada, and we went and Sammy Sosa, Albert. You know what I mean? We spent a little money, so we had a little pop back. Rafael Palmeiro was still hanging around a little bit. Like we had 3 resurgences in the history of this team since the golden eras of the 80s and 90s. It was that little stretch where we had Miguel Tejada and Sammy Sosa and them doing that thing. Then we died down again. Then we popped back up with Buck, Adam Jones, and my boy who out there in San Diego now,
Manny
Machado. That team, that's the team that they wasn't supposed. Chris Davis. I mean, they was not supposed to break that team up. They was not supposed to break that team up. And now we here now, and it's another resurgence. You're gonna fumble it again. You're gonna fumble it again. And again, that's a rant. But yeah, man, you're gonna push fans away. Ah, man, that's just dumb. Anyway, final thoughts, anybody? All right. It's just frustrating, man. The big news came out this week. UFC signed the new television deal, or a deal for their pay-per-views with Paramount Plus. That's right. So Paramount, who just got purchased by Sundance, last Thursday the deal went through, and then they announced this deal, their first big splash. They paid $7.7 billion over the next 7 years. That's right. Do the math. That's like a 1.1 billion a year. I think they front load. I mean, it's a little less at the beginning of the year, the contract, but then the money escalates. It's ridiculous money for all the pay-per-views. So previously, if you know, UFC pay-per-views used to be completely on regular, generic pay-per-view. You had to just go on whatever your provider was or the pay-per-view. ESPN purchased the rights to all UFC pay-per-views. So you had to get ESPN Plus, then order the pay-per-views through that platform. So it was like a 2 steps. You had to be a subscriber. It was a lot. So a lot of people just powered in pay-per-views. Let's be honest. So their buy rates on ESPN Plus sucked. Let's call it what it is. So in many ways, people felt like pay-per-views dead. You don't really have those major boxing fights no more. WWE been long since have left pay-per-view, giving away their pay-per-views on first the WWE Network. Then they went to Peacock. Now they're moving all the pay-per-views over to that new ESPN app that's going to be coming out. But Paramount Plus will now be taking over all the UFC events. And for whatever that monthly price you pay for your Paramount subscription, you will get all the UFC events inclusive. And they will air 13 pay-per-views on CBS proper, the network. This is huge. This is a great deal. If you're a UFC fan, you're going to save a lot of money. You're going to save over $1,000 a year.
If you bought all of them, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, because it's going to include with that.
What's your thoughts, Calvin?
Like I said, if you're a UFC fan, it brings a whole new audience, because if you had the Paramount app for your CBS or your Showtime shows, now you get to watch UFC fights. You get to watch those 13 fights, and they're going to have Fight Night on CBS as well. That's even better, because you include a whole nother audience that may subscribe to Paramount because they.
No, it's the opposite. They're going to put the 30 fight nights on Paramount Plus, and they'll have the simulcast the big 13 events on CBS.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you don't have Paramount Plus, that can get you to order Paramount Plus to kind of follow these your favorite fighters, because you see them on Fight Night, and now you want to follow them on pay-per-view. So it gives them a whole new audience. $7.7 billion is a lot more than I expected. I did not expect it to meet that number. Now, with this number, now what interesting part, in my opinion, there's numbers out there. So now if you're a fighter, you know how much they're making.
You're right.
So now, do you go and say, hey, I know how much you're making. You're making X amount per year. So if you want me to fight, it needs to be at least this much.
Yep.
So now, that's what needs to happen with some of these fighters. And will it happen? And will it happen first with your former heavyweight champion of the world?
You know, that was a point I was going to bring up next. I'm glad you went to it because that is the big story. I'm on message boards and talk to a lot of fighting people. That's all the talk it is. Jake Paul, he brought it up. There's a lot of people bringing up. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, y'all don't make no money on pay-per-view no more. We know how much you make. Yeah. And now you know what percentage you should be worthy of getting a cut of because the money's guaranteed. The money is guaranteed.
Yep.
Justin, your thoughts?
You're 100% correct. So, I mean, I guess this might be the worst thing is the fact that the money is out there, so we know. So everyone else is like you said, yo, it's time to get paid, man. So, and you know, because you're getting this money this way, you ain't got to work with. There's nothing wrong with them, but you ain't got to work with the Saudis as much as they was doing the overseas deals and stuff like that. You ain't got to worry about all of them no more. Everything's in house. The people that the people that own Paramount. And these people, they got like 300 billion to their name. So the money is real, and it can go higher depending on how they do. So, and shout out to Paramount because I was trying to think of why I had Paramount. I actually forgot why I still had Paramount, and I guess this might be a reason for me to keep it. But I honestly forgot why I have it. Other than maybe a show here and there.
Yeah,
you probably would. It's a sitcom type of a show, right? A package in a sense. No.
They got a lot of good shows. They got Yellowstone. If you were a Yellowstone fan, so they have Taylor Sheridan is one of the hottest movie directors, TV show directors. So he got Tulsa King with Sylvester.
That's
Stallone.
why I got it. There you go.
Yeah,
I know a reason why I got it.
There's several shows on there that are really good. The Mayor of Kingstown, check that out if you've never seen it.
Yes,
that's very good. But all the Showtime shows, you got the Shy, you got all the archives,
that's what it was,
all the MTV stuff, all the VH1 stuff, all the CBS, all the BET. They got a lot on the service. So if that's and you can stream all the games on because I used to use it on Sundays. If I wasn't home, I could watch the Ravens games. You know what I mean? So if I was out on the road, I had my phone, just put on Paramount Plus. You could watch the Ravens game wherever you was at. So that was the best part for me. And but CBS, I mean, that's a main station. So Paramount Plus is a good app, and they got it's a show called The Lioness that's real good on there too. But anyway, I think this is a hell of a deal as far as from a TKO perspective. Remember, TKO is the company over WWE and UFC. Their stock went through the roof. They said Vince McMahon, for doing nothing, gained I think his value went up by like $8 billion the other day. Like, that's how much they made. Like, it was crazy. Then Dana White announced that they will be hosting the first UFC fight from the White House on July 4th, 2026. And I just wanted them to fail all over again. Like, these guys are fully in bed with the administration. And remember, this is it's all politics in here. Stephen Colbert goes away. Right? What did they say was the reason? Budgetary.
It was budgetary. Is all because didn't CBS they merged with somebody. Maybe
Sundance bought them.
So Sundance deal was approved, and and it was
speculation. And the federal government had to clear that overage to do it. And they had to settle that thing with Trump. I think for like $50 million. Stephen Colbert gets thrown out the air.
Yep.
Like everybody say, well, South Park got because South Park is on Paramount. They might be next. That's what Comedy Central. That's all these stations are under the Paramount umbrella. All of a sudden, BT Hip Hop Awards is going away. Think about it.
Think about it. And the Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount owns all of BT, all VH1.
So they own BT Plus.
They own all of that. It's all under the Paramount umbrella. BET, VH1, MTV, what's the other station? Like that's all a conglomerate. Paramount, the channel, but I think it's just a lot of politics. Comedy Central, what else? Because remember how back before VH1 and MTV, it was like the shows would go back from channel to channel. Yeah. They're simulcast stuff on BET,
when they were
MTV, and VH1. They all in the same umbrella. So and CBS. So it's just like, man, and they used to be a very liberal leaning company. You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden, I don't know. Les Moonves, who is the president, he went through his stuff. Remember what his allegation with the Me Too stuff, and I think he just doubled down and said, "All right, I'm gonna be who I am." You know what I mean? Just like Rupert Murdoch. Anyway, we get into the TV weeds. You know that's my area, but it's just crazy, man. I'm a Big Brother guy, so I'm always gonna have Paramount Plus watch a lot of feats. But this is a big deal, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. We'll continue to monitor that. Real quick before we get out of here, talk some wrestling. Naomi was advertised for a match on Monday night to defend the title. And then all of a sudden, she wasn't medically cleared. A lot of rumors are swirling. I'll put it right off the bat. I have nothing confirmed.
Okay.
A lot of speculation. So nobody really knows, but we know it's a medical situation. Some of the speculation I've heard is possibly she's pregnant. But I can't confirm nor deny. Justin, have you heard anything? What's your thoughts?
Well, one, they're going to be on Stephanie's show tomorrow.
Oh, both of them.
So,
is it a new episode?
Yes, it's a new episode for Stephanie's
place.
Stephanie's place when she does her interviews. So I would think that this is going to be talked about. And what bigger platform do you setting up Stephanie McMahon and her thing too? You know. They got to get that piece some kind of way. But I think it was a complication with the pregnancy. I think she's already pregnant. And I think sometimes, you can play with that first trimester, especially that first month or so. You can still do some things. I'm a man. I know I'm a man talking, but you can Google it. You can do so. Serena won one of the Grand Slams while pregnant. There's things you could do while pregnant. And if you notice, she might not. I'm not gonna say she took the same bumps as she used to or not. That's what one of my partners, Queen, was telling me. She's not taking the same bumps as she used to. I just think that she's probably pregnant now, but things could be, once you get pregnant, we have no idea. Things could move faster than what's predicted, and I think those are one of the things to snatch her out of it real quick. And like I said, and like we were saying before, she was dropping that belt to Stephanie Valkyrie, and I think that this is all a play for her. Because she's pregnant. But now, if she is having complications of some kind, then that means they can strip her of her title, which means it keeps the caution
never lost.
Persona never lost. She can come back whenever she's ready.
It's always for the best.
So I think it's better this way than her losing to Stephanie. Let somebody else lose to Stephanie or beat Stephanie.
So you think she's been pregnant?
I don't know about that.
It's when you say Ben, we talking about early. Not
when I say Ben, I'll say she found out after the All Women's pay-per-view, so around that time.
Oh no, she would be showing by then.
That was what?
That's only a month. You're not going to show within a month. A lot of people don't show within a month.
I just don't think they would allow her to perform if she was pregnant. That's the thing.
You could be medically cleared within that first 1 or 2 months. You could still wrestle.
I was going to say, or do you think she would have lost at SummerSlam if that was the case?
I don't think. This is just me talking. I don't think they knew she was pregnant until probably SummerSlam, or maybe she had to.
So why didn't they change? Why didn't they have her lose then? Though
I don't think it happened until after, like SummerSlam was a week ago. You know what I mean? Maybe she got tested last week, and that's why they're like, because they didn't pull her until Monday afternoon. It wasn't like,
and she was there Monday, correct?
And she was supposed to wrestle Monday night.
But,
so it might have been something she just found out too.
She was backstage. She was backstage.
I'm saying she was back. It was confirmed she was backstage. So it wasn't like she just missed the fight.
Look, guys. Let's be real. Let's put on our adults hat right now. they are adults, and they can plan this. They can work with WWE to make a story out of this. They know that they was going to have a baby. They know that it's about to be time. So you have to do the steps to do it. They know what they were doing, and this is the result of it. So the shocking all of it, I don't get that. I just think that it's complications, if anything.
See, I don't have any facts to back it up, so I hate speculating about pregnancies. So I'm like, I'll hold out hope that if it was that, they would just tell us, because that to me, you don't play with it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put nobody in the ring pregnant. I just wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, anything can happen. Even if the baby survived, if she took a bad bump, it could be long complications, impact the baby. I don't know. I just don't know nothing.
The baby like this big.
I just don't know enough. I don't know enough. I don't know enough. Anyway, we'll hearts and prayers. Thoughts go out to Naomi. Hopefully everything's all right. So they're setting up a couple things. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes look like it's direction. I think that's a good direction. I think they should get them a good little feud. I don't think it need to be no one-off. I think they need to really warm it up. Let Drew get back into his good character work that he had when he had his feud with Seth and CM Punk. And let him say some of the stuff that Justin don't like about Cody. Let him pull back some of the white meat baby face stuff and really dig in. And I think it can really heat Drew up. And I'm excited. I really like Drew, and I think he's the perfect opponent for Cody Rhodes. Your thoughts, Calvin?
So does this lead to him joining Seth Rollins at Survivor Series eventually to lead to that 5-on-5?
Oh, for a match, for War Games? Yeah. I can see that. See that. But no, they don't need him. They got enough people.
Who's the 5?
I think you got Roman.
No. On Seth. On Seth's team.
Oh, on Seth's team?
Yes.
I think you could recruit somebody from the bloodline. I think Heyman still got enough pull with Solo or some of them. You only need a couple lackeys to join in.
But I guess my point is, if you're getting Cody, do you need who he's been feuding with recently? But
I don't think Cody need to be in War Games. I think he can carry his own match, world title match. War Games should be built around, Punk.
I don't think he has a world title match at War Games.
I mean, we so far out. I mean,
I'm just speculating.
You gotta fill out a card.
I see the vision if this is where they're going. That's all I'm saying. So
I mean, if you already got the world champion in War Games, you should have the other champion in a singles match of some sort. I don't think you need to have all your star power in one match. Spread it out a little bit. Justin, your thoughts? Stop hating on my guy.
I didn't say a word just now.
Your face with them glasses.
You could understood. It's just they just kind of sparked this out of nowhere. Drew he's been working so hard, man. Like the feud with, he made that bracelet with CM Punk like a premier item in the WWE. Even his feud with Damian Priest was pretty good, depending on given what that was. He's just been working his ass off, and just to lose to Cody is shameful that they're treating Drew McIntyre like this. It's just shameful.
Come on, man.
Shameful.
Cody's a top guy. Stop playing, my man. Anyway, I'm interested to see where they go with it. So Clash in Paris is coming up. They set up a 4-way. CM Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso will challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. That will be the main event, in theory, for that show. This is the traditional WWE lazy booking. They don't want to beat Seth or have him have a straight-up match. So they'll put it in a 4-way. One of these other guys will get pinned, probably LA Knight, and keep the feud going between Punk and he, so they don't have to have a one-on match. But how y'all feel about this one, Justin?
If it leads to better promos, because that LA Knight CM Punk promo left a lot to be desired. That was trash.
It didn't feel like they was on the same page at all.
Nah, I felt like they was waiting on Paul Heyman to come. I think Paul Heyman was supposed to come out, or at least the division, and they just like, oh, he's not out. So I'm gonna repeat the same thing we just said. Okay, then they coming out. But no, it was
20 minutes.
It's cool. You know, like I said, I think it is kind of somewhat lazy booking at the end of the day, but what could you do other than go through the number one contender thing? You can go that route, but just to have something in France to get them all there.
The crowd gonna love it.
Turn around. The mid-match yeet. Shout out to CM Punk for trying to do it. Look awkward as well. It's just maybe it's just for Jimmy and Jay. I don't think nobody else can really do it. So it's fun. I like to see Seth win this match because he's not losing.
He's not. I agree. He's not losing. Like you said, LA Knight, maybe even Jay takes the pin, but it's a good, like you said, it's a good filler to continue the storyline between CM Punk and Seth Rollins without having them face one-on-one, without having to have one of them definitively lose. So you do kind of add that element, and you kind of also build up to War Games, in my opinion. So, in addition, you're also kind of gearing up for Roman's return whenever that happens as well. So I'm not opposed to it. I think it'll be a good matchup, and I think Seth wins. It's just a matter of how and the other characteristics that revolve around the match.
Okay. Also, they made official. Remember, previously it was supposed to be Stephanie Valkyria versus Naomi or whoever the champion was. So right now that match has actually been taken off the advertising. So we'll see where they decide to go there. But we have Cena and Logan Paul. They transition to this match. Something for Cena to do. Get a win in front of the fans in Paris. It's a glorified house show. It's one of them shows they just put it on the network just to have something to do on a Sunday. Nothing big. 2:00 in the afternoon. Apparently, Brock and Cena are scheduled for the next show in September, which going head-to-head with the AEW show.
Of course.
Again.
Yeah, but this time they're going head-to-head with a main roster show instead of an NXT show. So they mean business. And then apparently, Cena's last date was supposed to be Saturday Night Main Event in December. They're going to put a pay-per-view on in that day to go head-to-head with AEW's last show of the year. So they just, we going to stick it and turn the knife.
But the opponent has been named, though, right?
Well, apparently September's Brock, and they haven't named it. But a lot of the people are saying, and don't quote me, a lot of people are saying that it might be The Rock. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't believe that.
Any thoughts on this matchup? I'm sure you don't have any. Oh,
at least you get to see face Cena. That's how he gets to go out, and so
yeah, the crowd they're gonna eat it up. Because they sure enough ate up that SummerSlam match. Golly, did they not?
That's with the entrance.
Yeah. They wanted face Cena. They got face Cena. So and, that's it. That's the show for tonight. That's what we got. Before we get out of here, I just want to take this time to congratulate two things. Congratulate our good friend and co-host, Brother Calvin Thomas, on a big win last weekend at his bowling tournament. Tell us about it, Calvin.
So it's like it's a UBA, it's the Underground Bowling Association. So it's like it's a year-long thing. So my team and I, we won it last week. It's our second time in 4 years. Yeah, post-COVID. So it was a long weekend last weekend. So,
Congratulations, brother.
Appreciate it.
And then I want to give a shout-out to my late father, man. Got some news this past week that my father on October, what is this date? No, September the 19th, my father's going to be inducted into the Morgan State University Swimming Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, man. They have a banquet and National Swimming Collegiate Championship that they won back when he was in school. He was one of the best swimmers coming out of Morgan. And he's going to be honored along with his teammates. My father's cousin, who just passed away, a month ago, he was also a great swimmer. And that sparked them to like they need to recognize those guys because they were some of the founding members of Groove Phi Groove fraternity at Morgan State University.
Okay.
And they were on the swim team. And my father was a hell of an athlete, man. And he just, man, it's great. When you go up Morgan, you see he got a plaque on the wall. And every time I used to go up there and I look for his name and stuff like that. But for him to now be recognized, 15 years after his death, going into the Morgan State, it would be great if he was alive to see it, you know what I mean? And actually accept the award. But I'm going to accept it on his behalf on September the 19th at 6 p.m. Apparently it's going to be a pretty big event. And I'm just proud, man. That made me proud. My uncle called me, said, Larry, I got news. I was like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, man, they inducted your father. I was like, dang, that's good, man. But it would have been nice if he was alive to see it. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah.
It'd be nice if you could freaking swim. How you going to set the water? You can't swim.
I can't swim. I've been swimming since I was 2 years old. I done told this story a million times. My father took me in his hands and threw me in the water. He said, you gonna pool? You gonna pool? All of us could swim. Anyway, shout out to my father. Hell of a legacy. And hey man, that's my alma mater too. Shout out to Morgan State University, the greatest school on the planet Earth, for recognizing a real one when they see it. And I'm proud. The whole team. I think it's only like, swim team's not that big, but all 4 of them, I think it's 5 of them, will be inducted into the National Swimming Hall of Fame. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy, man. But that's it. That's all I got. Justin, any final words before we get out of here?
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
They used to say black people don't swim. You know what I mean? That's a feat. Anyway, Calvin, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Man, congratulations. That's an honor, especially being your alma mater as well. So that's definitely something that you can carry on with your legacy. So definitely an honor.
Oh, he gonna cry. He
gonna
cry.
Yeah. And shout out to my family. They bought tickets. Tickets $150. They bought tickets to make sure we were well represented.
Is it a swim meet and a banquet, or just like a ceremony, just a banquet?
It's just a banquet, a ceremony. Okay. It's like a ceremony. Yeah, a banquet. They food and all that, and they got video. Yeah. So I was shocked, man. I was like, that was the last thing I expected to hear. But great stuff. September the 19th. You'll hear more about it. I'm sure I'll take some pictures, show it here on the show after the next week. So anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in tonight, everybody. Be sure to share. Let people know. Get off the damn fence. We're doing it every week. We're counting down. We're getting there. We got our fantasy football draft next weekend at Ravens Stadium. So next weekend we'll do a little preview fantasy football wise. I ain't giving them no tips and no clues or nothing, but we'll at least do a little, once over talking about the players you should be looking into and some draft tips. You know what I mean? For the novices out there, Justin, he might take some notes. You know what I mean? Like, if you haven't won,
by the way.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
I can't speak for the competition, so
yeah, I'm sure you do win in other leagues. But
they need to send a text message out. We ain't talk about the entry fee.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
Been busy.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you right here next week for another edition. Get off the damn fence. Holla.